Welcome to video number 5 in our Deliverance Ministry seminar. In this video, we're going to discuss the homework that is given to the individual during their first interview with a deliverance team leader. And so those 3 pieces of homework is the forgiveness worksheet, the soul tie worksheet, and a questionnaire. So we're going to begin with the forgiveness worksheet, and you find that on page 21 in your manual. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to explain page 21 and how you will explain to the individual as a team leader how they conduct and how they carry out this forgiveness worksheet and how they process forgiveness. So, at the top of page 21, how to forgive. To begin with, you must make yourself vulnerable to God. He has to be allowed to bring to the surface all the painful emotions you feel towards those who hurt you. Do not try to suppress or hide your pain. You need to grant God permission to go down to the emotional core of your being and bring that pain to the surface so those damaged emotions can begin to heal once your decision to forgive is complete. A lot of the people with anxiety, stress, depression, inner turmoil, it's because of they're trying to suppress, they're trying to hide their pain, they're trying to medicate their pain, they're addicted to things, trying to cause that pain to go away. People that attempt suicide or do commit suicide, it's because the pain is so severe that they cannot deal with it. And so what we want to do, we want that pain to come up so we can grab hold of it and allow God to bring healing to it, and so that they don't need those addictions anymore. They don't need that medication anymore. They don't need to consider suicide anymore. Healing comes to an individual when you allow them these emotions to come up. They get healed, taken out of the way. So that's what this is all about in that first paragraph right there. Let those painful emotions come to the surface. That is the first part of how to forgive. So we'll direct the individual. Number 1, reading that in page 21 says, tell the individual to take this worksheet alone, be alone, go alone and ask the Lord to show you the people you need to forgive. Now, what is going to take place when you make the decision to go through a deliverance process? God is going to flood your mind with many, many people that you had totally forgotten about, that has hurt you over the years. And so what we want to do, the bullet point under number 1, make a list of the names of the people he brings to your memory. Just so on a paper at the side of this worksheet, just start writing down the names of all of those individuals that have hurt you, have said something wrong to you, that has inflicted emotional wounds upon you. It says, continue on, and under number 1 there on page 21 says, they may be the little girl from the 3rd grade or your 5th grade school teacher. And if applicable, be sure to include yourself. There's a lot of people that were bullied on the playground as a child, 6, 7, 8 years old, and here they are now 40, 50, 60 years old, and they're still carrying those emotional wounds from the playground. They have never been set free from them. A lot of what we do through the ministry of deliverance sets people free from those emotional wounds, and it is absolutely liberating. So do not dismiss what took place on the playground or whatever that school teacher or somebody else did to you. Write their names down. It is very, very important. Number 2, go over each name with the Lord and express to Him how they have hurt you. Make it a prayer. Say, Lord, that person did this to me. That person did that to me. Number 3, write down what they did to you and why you need to forgive them. For an example, in the bullet point under number 3, Mrs. Smith, my 5th grade teacher, humiliated me. She made fun of me, and I was so angry. I was so vulnerable and not able to protect myself from her. There are many people that were hurt by their teacher, severely hurt. And so we need to bring these things up. We need to allow those emotions to come up and do not bury them. Number 4, list whatever feelings you had and the degree to which you felt them. For an example, under number 4, write down, I was so angry. I did not care if they fell and hurt themselves. Actually, I wished they had. Or I wish they could have died because of the humiliation. And then number 5, Write a short note to each person who has hurt you, telling them what they did and how it made you feel, and end each note with, "But I choose to forgive you." Now, we make it clear that these notes are therapeutic for the individual that is writing these down. These notes do not get sent to the individuals that hurt them. So that's the bullet point. This next bullet point under number 5, it says, these notes do not need to be given to the person you need to forgive. These are an act of faith. The Lord will see that you are serious. Number 6, choose to forgive and release them. It's a decision. Forgiveness is a decision that you make. You need to choose to forgive and release them and then do it. And then pray this simple prayer like this. Lord, I want to confess that I have not loved you, or I have not loved. I have resented certain people and have unforgiveness in my heart. Lord, I now choose to forgive my 5th grade teacher. Or Lord, I now choose to forgive that bully on the playground. And then in the name of Jesus, amen. And then you pray that prayer for each person on your list. Each person you need to write out, number 5, who hurt you, what they did to you, how it made you feel, and then pray that prayer in a choice to forgive them. I choose to forgive you. And then number 7, last of all, this step could be the hardest, but also the most freeing. Because sometimes you need to forgive yourself for a lot of the things that you have done. So go somewhere alone, the bathroom or your bedroom, with a mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror. Forgive and release yourself for anything you need to forgive yourself of. And sometimes there are many people get blocked right there. They have inflicted so much pain on other individuals that they have a hard time forgiving themselves. And that might be one of the things that is blocking their freedom and liberty and moving forward in their relationship with Jesus Christ and blocking them in moving forward in their relationship with other people. So that is how you conduct the forgiveness worksheet in taking steps in forgiveness. We're going to then jump to the soul tie worksheet on page 23 and how this is conducted, and it is very similar. At the top of page 23, write down the names of everyone you've had an ungodly relationship with, either sexually or emotionally, and this includes all fantasies. It includes pornography and accompanying masturbation. It includes lesbianism, homosexuality, and molestation, regardless if you were the victim or the abuser, and any other type of sexual perversion that you may have been involved in. This also includes your spouse if you had sexual relations with your spouse prior to marriage. Now, let me make it clear, whether it's the forgiveness worksheet or the soul tie worksheet, these are exercises that only is seen by you and God. You don't show them to anybody else. So you need to be completely open and exposed to God in all of these situations. Let me just reemphasize that. The team leader does not see this list of people that you may have had sexual relationships with outside of marriage, or fantasies that you had, or pornography. They do not see this list. So be completely open and honest with God as you deal with them. So you have a list off to the side. You make a list. The second paragraph on page 23, it says, if you don't know or remember the name of the person, you can use a description like the girl in the bar, or the boy at the beach, or the man at the hotel, or what other description can help you to identify them. And then the next paragraph after that on page 23, it says, after praying the below prayer, consider taking that piece of paper and burning it, or tearing it into little tiny pieces and stomping on it. Put it under your feet. Also be sure to forgive these people. Forgive them for sinning with you, and forgive them for sinning against you, especially if you were a victim of molestation and rape. So, and then after you make this list and you pray this prayer down below. I'm not going to pray this prayer, but you can see the prayer down below. For every person on that list, you pray this prayer for. And then you take and you burn that piece of paper, and you're believing by faith that you have made the decision to be separated. Your soul is not going to be bound up. It is not going to be tied. It is not going to be connected with that individual anymore. So that is a soul tie that we want to sever, we want to break, because a lot of people are bound by these ungodly sexual relationships or emotional attachments to individuals. And we're going to be talking about that more in a little bit in a future video. But so those are the first two worksheets, the forgiveness worksheet and the soul tie worksheet that we give to a person during the first interview. And the third piece of information that the worksheet that they have is the questionnaire. So turn to page 25. And so this is the questionnaire that they're going to fill out. And so look at page 26. It just has their basic contact information. It talks about their marital status, how many times they were married, how many children they had with each spouse. And then it goes into the middle of page 26 where it says, please briefly answer the following. It talks about your church background. When did you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior? Was your life really changed? Have you been baptized in water? Do you have assurance of your salvation? Then on page 27, other things about your relationship with Jesus Christ and where you were born and where you live. And then it goes in the middle of page 27, your family background and relationships. Where were your parents born? Were you a planned child? Did your parents plan to have you? Were you the right sex? Number 14. Let me explain that. Sometimes people, or the parents wanted a boy, but they got a girl, or they wanted a girl, but they got a boy. And so what they do, sometimes they reject a child because they were the wrong sex. So that is a very significant bit of information that we want to learn from the individuals. Were you conceived out of wedlock? Were you adopted? And going on down through there, more questions about family and how you were raised. What homes were you raised in? This number 21 at the top of page 28. Then number 23 on page 28 talks about your father. Number 24 on page 28 is what about your mother? Then your upbringing. 25, 26, your brothers and sisters and your siblings, information about that. Then over on page 29, a little bit more information about yourself. And your family life continues on. And number 36, 37, and 38 is talking about what kind of physical or verbal abuse did you experience in your home? Did you experience sexual abuse in your home? Or number 38, outside of your home? Because a lot of people that have been molested, a lot of the wounds that they're carrying today and how it's affecting their life is because of what happened when they were a child or a teenager. And so this is extremely important information that we want the individual that's going through deliverance to relate to us. Also, number 39 on page 29, what of these cults may have any of your ancestors been involved, whether it's your parents or grandparents? Just put a check mark right there to let those on the team know what kind of what we call a generational consequence might have rolled downhill, so to speak, upon this individual. Also, number 40, which any kind of secret society were ancestors involved in. Top of page 30, number 41, what kind of chronic illnesses or generational illnesses run in your family? Was there any, number 42, was there any depression suffered by your parents? And then on page 30, in the middle of it, it talks about the individual. Are they easily frustrated? Number 45, have they ever had psychiatric counseling? And if so, when did they have that? Were they hypnotized? Do they feel confused? Do they have daydreams? Do they have nightmares? Is 49. And then going over to page 31, have they ever committed suicide? So you can see this is a very comprehensive document that it gives us all the information we know to be able to minister effectively to this individual. Number 50 and 51, have you ever attempted suicide? Have you ever or have you been tempted to commit suicide? And have you ever tried to commit suicide? Have you ever wished to die? Have you ever been involved in occult or witchcraft? That's number 53. And then number 54, what kind of occult involvement have they been engaged in? Because there's a lot of Christians that have been involved in occult practices and divination. So that page there talks more about that. Same with the top of page 32 and going on down through page 32. And also page 32 is there's 65 and 66 is what kind of music have they allowed to enter into their mind, because that affects who they are. Now, when we get to number 67, where it says martial arts, it isn't that they just practice martial arts. It says what we really want to know is, did they engage in it so much that they were seeking demonic powers to enhance those martial arts that they were studying? Also, number 68, do you struggle with sexual issues or problems? And if so, what are they? Number 69 is, do you have any tattoos? Now, tattoos are extremely important. They tell a lot about the individual, because there's a lot of tattoos that house pain. They are emotional wounds, a lot of the tattoos that you have. So you ask the individual, what kind of tattoos do you have, and what do they reflect? What do they mean? Why did you get that particular tattoo? And so you need to understand and know what is going on there. Then going on to page 33, what you want to do is you ask them to write a P in each one of these blanks, if it's applicable. P for past, C for current, or PC if it was both past and current. So you continue to do that. So that's the directions on page 33 at the very top, where it says, for questions 70 through 87, please place a P for past, C for current, or PC for both. And so you just continue to go through each one of these situations and put those letters in there. Then on number 88, on the bottom of page 36, it says, please describe as clearly as you can what is going on in your life at this time. What was it that prompted you to seek spiritual counseling? So they're going to elaborate on that. And this is one of the important things that we see. What is it that is really pressing them? What is the heavy oppressiveness that they are undergoing? And then on page 37 and 38, verse number 89 through 96, we just want to ask them to put a check in here. If any of these things describes the individual, does it describe them? For example, number 89, it says, I am all alone. I don't matter. God has forsaken me. I can't trust anyone. So if they are applicable, we ask them just to put a check in there. If it is not applicable, they leave it blank. Now, over on page 38, it says, number 97, it says, what is the worst thing that has ever happened in your life? Now, this is probably the question out of the entire questionnaire that you want to focus in on, because the worst thing that has ever happened to them is more than likely the thing that is keeping them bound up, preventing them to be able to take their step forward in their relationship with Jesus Christ, as well as having healthy and wholesome relationships with other people. Also, number 98, have you received prayer for deliverance? Has other people prayed for you in the ministry of deliverance in other churches or at other times? We want to know that, because if you have a person that keeps going from one deliverance ministry to another deliverance ministry and another, there's something going on there. We don't want to push the person to the side, but sometimes there's some people that they're wanting a quick fix. They're wanting somebody to come along and just wave a magic wand over their head and make all their problems go away, and they're not willing to discipline themselves. And so this will kind of help us zero in and find out what's really going on. Why did they go from one deliverance ministry to another, and they're not getting the results that they're looking for? And then on the top of page 39, it says, describe your dreams and your goals, your aspirations. We want to see, do they have a dream? And then number 100, are there any other problems that this questionnaire does not deal with or give you an opportunity to respond to, significant issues? And so they will fill those in there. So this is the end of video number 5, and in our next video, we're going to explain how you can use this questionnaire, as well as an overview of the second interview. We're going to be dealing with both of those. We're going to be looking at how to use this questionnaire, and also give you an overview of what takes place during the second interview.